Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to the today's lecture where we are going to learn about the general terms used in plant pathology. The term disease, it means any malfunctioning of the host cells and tissues that result from continuous irritation that is caused by a pathogenic agent or environmental factor which leads to development of symptoms. This definition was given by Gian Agrios during the year 1997. It means when the pathogen or any environmental factor will influence the host cell which causes the continuous irritation where the host plant cell is unable to tolerate that irritation, then which results in a malfunctioning of that particular host cell that ultimately leads to the development of symptoms. Diseases are often associated with specific symptoms or signs, and disease may be caused by external factors like environmental factors or pathogen or internal dysfunctions. That means externally they may be caused by pathogen or environmental factors like temperature, humidity, light, and any heavy metals present in the soil, or internal dysfunctions, that is lack of nutrients within the plant itself, may lead to the development of symptoms. So now let us come to this definition of the disease exactly. That means any malfunctioning of the host cells and tissues that result from continuous irritation by a pathogenic agent or environmental factor and lead to development of symptoms. And diseases are often associated with specific symptoms or signs, and disease may be caused by external factors such as pathogens or by internal dysfunctions. Coming to the next term, disorder. Disorder means non-infectious plant disease which can be caused by abiotic conditions such as adverse soil or environmental conditions. The name itself indicating the non-infectious. Non-infectious means which is unable to transmit from the diseased plant to healthy plant or from mother plant to daughter plants. So this is a non-infectious, means it is not continuously transmitted. That's why we called as a non-infectious plant disease. Infectious plant disease means it will be able to transmit from the diseased plant to healthy plant. So disorders are generally non-infectious plant diseases which are caused by abiotic factors like adverse soil and environmental conditions. And what are the common characteristics of these non-infectious diseases in plants? That means they are caused by the lack or excess of something. That means I already told abiotic conditions like temperature, that may be high temperature or low temperature, soil moisture, presence of high moisture in the soil or presence of low moisture which lead you to drought conditions in the soil, and soil nutrients, that is lack of potassium, phosphorus, nitrogen, or presence of excess amounts, and light, that is high light intensity, low light intensity, air, that is relative humidity content within the environment, and soil pollutants like cadmium, air humidity, soil structure, and pH. All these factors used to support the life of the plant. So when these factors, whether they may be present in excess condition or they may be present in low condition, that may lead you to the non-infectious plant diseases. And these occur in the absence of pathogens. That is, non-infectious plant diseases occurs in the absence of pathogens, and they cannot be transmitted from disease to healthy plants. If the disease is caused by a pathogen, that can be able to transmit from the uh, infected plant to healthy plant. So disorders are non-infectious plant diseases which are caused by abiotic conditions. You have to remember the disorder. Disorder means it is mainly caused by abiotic conditions. That may be any of the environmental factor. We have to remember this one. Here in this picture you can see the these terminal portions of the leaf. They are showing some drying type of symptoms, and here you can see in the leaf how these disorders can be a pathogenicity. And coming to the term sign, sign is that pathogen or its parts or products seen on a host plant. That means either we directly see a pathogen or the parts produced by the pathogen or products that produced by the pathogen like spore structures. We can whatever we will see on the host plant known as a sign. Here sign is here you can see in this picture here this white mycelial growth produced by sclerotium, here smut galls, and here rust spores which we can clearly see as red colored spores. These are the parts or products produced by the pathogen what we are seeing on the infected host plant. Coming to the next term, symptom. Symptom means external or internal reactions or alterations of a plant which are the result of a disease. Means when the pathogen infecting the host plant, it lead you to some irritation within the host cell. So host cell automatically will react to that pathogen either to restrict that pathogen from moving to the other plants, or it may be directly susceptible to that host plants, allowing the movement of that pathogen. So here you can see different type of symptoms. Here necrosis, which is surrounded by halo surrounding. Here mosaic symptoms where alternate yellow and green patches are seen. Here also some mosaic mottling symptoms are there, where in some areas we are unable to differentiate between yellow and green areas. In some areas we are able to differentiate these symptoms. So though this is the symptom. So I think now you understand the clear cut difference between the sign and symptom. Sign means the pathogen or its parts or products produced by that pathogen which we are able to see on the host plant. Symptom means external internal reactions or alterations produced in a plant cell on a plant as a result of the disease. This is the difference between sign and symptoms. And coming to the syndrome. What is syndrome? Syndrome is a set of varying symptoms which are characterizing a particular disease known as syndrome. It means that particular disease is characterized by a different symptoms. Like if you take the smut on leaf, how they used to we used to see smut spores with black colored spores, and if you see the anthosis portion, that is floral organs where smut balls we can see and smut galls they used to be produced. So different type of symptoms within the same host plant, that we call as a syndrome. That is set of varying symptoms which are characterizing a disease are called a syndrome. Then coming to the next term, biotroph. What is biotroph? The name itself indicating that bio means living, troph means organism. Organism which can live and multiply only on another living organism. That means a biotroph require another living organism to complete its life cycle. So biotrophs always obtain their food from living tissues on which they complete their life cycle. So if they have to complete life cycle, they require the living host. If living host is not available, they are not able to complete the life cycle. Example for the biotrophs are rust, smut, and powdery mildew fungi. So we also call them as a obligate parasites because they require the living host compulsorily to complete their life cycle. Okay. Next, coming to the term hemibiotroph. Hemibiotroph means hemi means half, biotroph means living, which require means half of the life on the living organism and half of the life on the dead matter. Let us see the definition. These hemibiotrophs are also known as facultative saprophytes. Means facultative means either on living and dead, both they will survive. The parasites which attack living tissues in the same way as biotrophs, so they are attacking the living tissues as biotrophs attacking the living tissues, and they will continue to grow and reproduce after the tissue is dead. So those pathogens what we call as hemibiotrophs are facultative saprophytes. And next important term is perdotrophs. Perdotrophs are also known as perdophytes, and another important term for these two terms alternative, that is necrotrophs. Generally we used to listen the term necrotroph. Necrotroph organisms are also called perdotrophs or perdophytes. That means a parasite, when we call it as a necrotroph, means when it will infect the host plant and kill the host cell, then we call that organism as a necrotroph. That means a parasite is a necrotroph when it kills the host tissues in advance of penetration and then leaves saprophytically. It means it has to progress in the pathogenesis. That means it has to cause the disease, means initially it has to kill the host cell. Then we call that organism as a necrotroph. Example, if you will take Sclerotium ralphii, which used to cause southern blight of vegetables and melons. Okay, these are the important biotrophs. Hemibiotrophs and periotrophs are also known as necrotrophs. Coming to the next term, that is inoculum. What is inoculum? Inoculum is the part of pathogen which come on contact with the susceptible host plant and causes the infection, or the infective propagules which are coming in contact with the host plant and causing the infection, known as inoculum. That is, inoculum is a part of the pathogen or infective propagules when they come in contact with the host plant and capable of causing the disease, that is infection, known as inoculum. Then inoculum potential, the term itself indicating that potential means capability of that inoculum for causing the disease or creating the disease in the host plant. So let us see the exact definition. Energy of growth of a parasite available for infection of a host at the surface of host organ to be infected. That is how much energy is present within that pathogen for causing the disease at the contact of infection with the host plant. So the resultant of action of environment, vigor of the pathogen to establish infection, and susceptibility of the host and the amount of inoculum present, all these conditions will decide the inoculum potential. That is environmental factors, whether they are making the host plant susceptible to that pathogen or not, and vigor of the pathogen, whether that pathogen is having sufficient energy to cause the disease in the pathogen, the establishment of the disease infection in the host plant, and susceptibility of the host plant. That means that the host is capable of resisting the pathogen, or it is a susceptible host for that particular pathogen. And amount of inoculum, here amount of the inoculum also decide the inoculum potential. That means sufficient inoculum should be required for creating the disease. If that sufficient inoculum is not present, then the host plant will not able to be susceptible. Coming to the incubation period. Incubation period means it is some time period, the term indicating the time period. So the period of time, a time lapse between penetration of the host by a pathogen and the first appearance of symptoms on the host, and it varies with the pathogen, host and environmental conditions. What is incubation period means? When the pathogen penetrate the host plant, that means suppose if the spore landed on the host plant and it germinates by producing germ tube, so that is the first stage, and production of symptoms. So between this time lapse is there. That means a chain of events will take place in between the penetration of the host and production of symptoms. So this time period we known as incubation period, and incubation period will be affected with the pathogen, host and environmental conditions. If environmental conditions are favorable, then the incubation period will be less, it will easily produce the symptoms, and environmental conditions are not favorable, then incubation period will be long. And another term, predisposition. Predisposition means pre means before causing the disease. Whatever conditions are present before producing the disease, those conditions are known as predisposition. So let us come to the exact definition of this predisposition. It is the action of set of environments prior to penetration and infection. That means before the pathogen penetration and infection, whatever environmental conditions are there which makes the plant vulnerable to attack by the pathogen. That means environmental conditions present before the penetration of the pathogen and which makes the host plant susceptible, that is vulnerable to the attacked pathogen. Those environmental conditions is known as predisposition. And this predisposition is related to effect of environment on the host, but not on the pathogen. We have to remember that this predisposition is mainly for the host but not the pathogen. And just before actual penetration occurs means how these environmental conditions conditioning the host plant to susceptible, that it make as a susceptible for that attacking pathogen. Those environmental conditions what we call as predisposition. And coming to the another important term, hypersensitivity. We generally used to come across in the pathology a lot of times about this hypersensitive reaction, hypersensitive reaction. So what is exactly hypersensitivity? Hypersensitivity means excessive sensitivity of the plant tissues to a certain pathogen. That means affected cells are killed quickly and blocking the advancement of obligate parasites. Means if the host is highly sensitive, that means it can't tolerate the attack of the pathogen. What it will do? It immediately kill that host cell. Means itself it will kill the host cell. Then that host cell, after dying of the host cell, the pathogen will not get any nutrients because these obligate parasites require the living tissues. But here what host plants is doing means it is killing the host cells itself, that leading to some necrotic type of symptoms. That is the most common type of hypersensitive reaction what we will see in the host plants. Then if the death of the cell occurs, then pathogen will not move to the another cell. So it automatically restricting the pathogen movement within the plant system. That is the hypersensitive reaction. Then coming to the term infection. Infection means establishment of parasitic relationship between two organisms. Here two organisms means pathogen and the host system. After entry or penetration of the pathogen, that is establishment of a parasite within the host system. That is the infection. Infection process means when the after penetration of the pathogen, it will establish a close relationship with the host plant to obtain nutrients from the host system. That is the process what we called as infection. Then coming to the systemic infection, there are two terms: local infection and systemic infection. If the pathogen confined to the local area where it infects, and that is the local infection. If it moved from the site of infection to the other plant parts, like locally leave to systemic leave. So that is systemically. Suppose if plant like this, if the pathogen infected here, then it will move from here to here. That is flower parts or other leaf tissues. So systemically it is moving. That is the systemic infection. That is growth of the pathogen from the point of entry to varying extents without showing any adverse effect on tissues through which it passes. Means even though it is moving systemically, sometimes it will not show any adverse effects on the other parts. So that is the systemic infection. And coming to the other terms which are involved with these diseases, like epidemic or epiphytotic condition, endemic disease and sporadic diseases. So let us see what is the difference between these terms. Epidemic means a disease usually occurs widely, means in larger areas, but periodically, means at periodic intervals, that is a particular time period. And in a destructive form is referred as epidemic, and it is also known as epiphytotic disease. Example for the epidemic, we can take late blight of potato, which is also known as Irish famine, which was occurred during the year 1845. That means it occurs in a vast form, in a destructive manner, that is complete eradication of the crop. That is known as epidemic. And coming to the another term, endemic. Endemic means it constantly used to be present in the same areas in a moderate to severe form, and it is confined to a particular country or district. Means it usually present continuously either in a moderate terms or a severe form. Moderate losses it causing or severe losses it may cause. Example, if we will take the endemic diseases like club root of cabbage in Nilgiri areas, and black wart of potato caused by Syncytium endobioticum, and onion smut, Urocystis cepae. These are the examples for the endemic diseases. And coming to the another term, sporadic disease. Sporadic disease means which occur at very irregular intervals. Means sometimes it may happen, but not regularly. So irregular intervals and locations, and not in particular location. Anywhere it will happen and at any time it may happen, and in relatively fewer instances, that too only few instances, not regularly. That is known as sporadic disease. It means occur at very irregular intervals and locations, that is irregular locations, and in a relatively few instances. Example, if you will take for sporadic disease, Udavata disease of the rice and angular leaf spot of cucumber caused by Pseudomonas lacrymans. These are the examples for the epidemic, endemic and sporadic disease. So today we learned about the different common terms used in plant pathology. If you like this video, share with your friends to give more knowledge to them. And thank you for your keen interest in this video, and remember to like and subscribe for more videos. I wish you a great success, health, prosperity and happiness. Thank you one and all.